Is there any particular place where you're more likely to find insects? Does that help tell you anything about potential crime or potential crime scene?
You tend to find them in the same places. So where you've got a body, quite often the face is exposed, the head is exposed. You know, if you imagine if you've got a body outdoors, if the body may be clothed, but quite often the face will be exposed. And there's lots of nice kind of hiding places for eggs to be laid and for larvae to feed. So there are sort of obvious places to look for the insects in the kind of underneath the body as well. Obviously, if you've got decomposition fluids, then you're going to get blowflies laying eggs in sort of folds of the skin and underneath the body, etc. I mean, sometimes the lack of insects can actually be really useful as well. So if you would expect to have found insects on a body, so for instance, if a body's found outside and you would expect to find insects, if there aren't any insects associated with it, then that could suggest that the body was perhaps stored somewhere prior to being deposited outside. So I think the first case I worked on actually involved fleas. At the time I was writing the Handbook of British Fleas at the Natural History Museum. I just started my PhD in forensic entomology, but at the time I was one of the resident experts on fleas at the museum. There's so many things about fleas that are just amazing. They're just perfectly designed for their parasitic lifestyle, and there's so many different types as well. I think I recognised 63 species living in Britain. The police basically suspected that somebody had been killed in a property. It was actually a holiday home because a carpet had been thrown out, and the owners of the house said that the reason it had been thrown out was because they had a very heavy infestation of fleas. So I had the really bright idea of seeing if they had a vacuum cleaner at the property, and this was back in the days when vacuum cleaners had bags, and so I said, send me the vacuum cleaner bag and I'll go through it and I'll see if I can find any evidence of fleas. But they had 3 dogs, so, one would expect, to have some fleas possibly. And so, I mean, that's probably one of the worst jobs I've done, actually, is going through somebody else's vacuum cleaner bag. It's pretty horrible. I did find some evidence of fleas. I then got asked to go to the permanent residence of the couple and to search there as well for evidence of fleas, which I did. And again, I found some evidence of them. But nothing, not a huge number at all. So I just went back to the police, sent them a report, and in which I said I haven't found evidence of a heavy infestation of fleas. So they then questioned the couple again, and that's the point where they said actually their son had killed somebody on the carpet. It was covered in blood, and that's why they'd thrown the carpet out. So it was a really, really simple case where just finding the right expert makes such a difference, finding somebody that kind of knows something about that particular organism that's involved in that particular case.